Hi everyone. Welcome to the first day of drafting. I'm going to go over some tasks in Inventor, Autodesk Inventor, the program we're using. It should be on your desktop. It's this yellowish, orangish looking icon that has an I on it. It says I Pro. So that's Autodesk Inventor Professional. You can double click on it and it will load up. If it ever gives you any error codes, let me know. But one thing to check that if it does give you an error code and says you need a license or something like that, you might want to hop down here to the internet and make sure you're connected to LCSD or the hardwired internet plugin. What you don't want to be connected to is La Crosse School District Guest. If you're on La Crosse School District Guest, the licensing won't work and it won't open. So make sure you're on this one if you get that issue. Otherwise, raise your hand and I can help you out. When you open up Inventor, you're always going to get this thing here, and it's going to give you a couple things. You can go in the list view, which will give you the names and the locations and all the rest, or you can go in a grid view, which sometimes will give you a picture. It's not generating one for this tutorial here. Oh, there it goes. We'll give you a picture of what you drew, and you can see files that were recently opened. Not all recent files will go in there, but a lot of times, if you're going to quick just open this up at the beginning of the class period and check for a file, you can quick hop in there. When we come in here, we're going to be always making a new file unless we're opening up an old one. But for the first day, we're going to be making a new file. If we click on new, it'll bring up this template here and it gives us a lot of different options. We can pick an option from there. We can pick a part, an assembly, or a drawing. In every case, we're always going to pick the standard. We're going to create a standard drawing, a standard assembly, or a standard part. In this case, though, I like to just use the quick menu where I click on this little down arrow and I click on part. We're going to be making a basic part today. Okay. Click on that. It will make it and take us to the drawing screen here. It's going to load in a second. So here we have the drawing screen. On the drawing screen, we have a couple different things. On the side here, we have kind of what's maybe the history of the part. It tells us all about it. Up here, we have the views. We can change through the different views. I have nothing drawn here, but we can do that. And then we have a home icon, which brings back to home. If we're ever doing more than one part or we make more than one, they'll list along the bottom where my mouse is. So right now I have part one. If I want to go back to the home page, I can click on home, and then I can click back to part one, and it'll take me back there. Okay. Whenever we're starting a new model, we're going to start up here with our sketching tools, okay, or our basic tools of all the different things we can do, okay? So we kind of think of this as our toolbar. Right now we're in the 3D model version of our toolbar. We're basically going to do everything in either the sketch box or the 3D model box. If we click on Start 2D Sketch, it's going to bring up this planes, and these are, as I was telling you, the different views of an object. So we could think of this as the front and the back view. We could think of this as side views. We could think of this as the top and bottom view, depending on which way you look at the part. If the part was drawn on the bottom here, this would be the top view. If the part was drawn up here, this would be the bottom view. For the part we're going to quick draw right here, I'm just going to click on the XY plane, which is the most standard plane, and it's going to snap and it's going to bring us this. And you might notice that the top toolbar went from 3D model to sketch automatically when we did that. And also all these tools highlighted, and we have a big finish sketch button on the side. We're just going to draw a simple cube today. Nothing fancy about it, just a plain simple cube. And then we're going to show you a couple different ways we can draw it. And then I'm going to show you two ways that we can put a hole in the middle of the cube, because that's all we're going to be doing. Our cube we're going to draw today, we're just going to draw a 2.5 by 2.5. So first thing we can do is we can click on the line tool here. I already did that. Sorry, I should have said that. I can click in the middle. I can drag up, and I'm just going to draw roughly a box, okay? Now you might notice here, if I go like this, my lines, it shows the degrees, it says 93. If I go, it snaps and gives me that little T looking symbol up in the corner there. That means the lines are perpendicular. We always want the lines to be perpendicular when we're drawing some sort of square component, okay? So we can draw a box, put all together. The ones that are drawn on these X's aren't going to show up in purple unless we hover over them. And then once we have the box drawn, we can come up here to our dimension tool, and this is how we determine the size. We can click on a line, we can drag off, and then we click on the line, drag, click again, and it will give us a dimension in here, okay? Let's make our box 2.5, and then we hit enter on our keyboard, okay, by 2.5, hit enter on our keyboard again, and we have our box, okay? Now, I'm not actually going to go ahead with this. I'm going to show you another way we can draw this. and draw that. I'm also going to show you the trim tool here. Trim tool is kind of nice. We can just drag and cover lines and it will delete them. Okay. In that case, I try to delete all of them and it won't allow you to trim all the lines. Trim has to be used if we were trimming something like that. And also doesn't like that because there's a dimension. So if I trim that one, it's also dimensioned, it won't work for any of these. Okay. But you can kind of get the idea. There are times where the trim tool will be useful. This is just not one of them necessarily. In this case, I'm going to hit escape on my keyboard pad in the top left corner. I'm going to click and drag over everything until it's highlighted, and then I'm going to click delete on my keyboard. I'm going to delete that. The way I think it's fast is if we just have a simple square or rectangular shape, as I use the rectangular tool, you click, you drag, and then once you have the size you want, you click again. Now this is not dimensions, so we got to enter those dimensions again. So I'm going to click, drag out from the line, and then click again. And I'm typing 2.5. And then same thing here. We're going to click on this line, drag out, click on my keyboard or my mouse again, 2.5, and hit enter. Okay. So in this case, we're just going to leave this here. This is how I want it. I'm going to hit finish sketch here, and it's going to go in and it's going to zoom in right on that point. We come up here on the top. Remember, this is showing us an isometric view, so a three-dimensional view. I can click on this top corner and zoom around and view this from different angles. For the moment, we're going to stay on the front corner, okay? I'm going to click on this button over here called extrude. And extrude is the most simple tool, and basically what it does, it takes a 2D sketch and it makes it three-dimensional. Up here, we have a couple of things for basic extrusion. We have the direction, and then we have the distance. And so I'm going to flip this distance so that this is still remaining in the front of our thing. And I'm going to make, I want it to be a cube, so I'm going to make this 2.5 inches. And I'm going to hit enter, or I could click on OK. And it's going to draw this box. Now, we're going to go and we're going to put a hole all the way through the middle of this box. We'll put a 1/2 inch hole centered right on the top and make it go all the way through. To do that, we have a couple of different things. We have this hole tool up here, which we could use, and actually we'll show you how to use that. But the first thing we need to do is we need to start a 2D sketch, and we want to select which face we want to draw on. In this case, I said we're going to draw it on the top. I'm going to click on this face. It's going to snap and make this square. We'll want to click here on the top button, and that will square us in the middle. And if you ever like zoom out or something, let's say I zoomed out here and I don't know where I am, I can just click on the top button, and it'll take me back to it. In this case, I have two options. I can click on point, and I could, at a point, click once in the middle, and then I could go to my dimension tool, and I could dimension, this is 2.5, so that means we're going to be an 1.25 inches, so 1.25 from each edge. I could dimension, and I could click, I could go to the other line, and I could dimension 1.25, and I could finish the sketch, and then I could click on the hole tool here, and I can make a hole, and then I could come down here to the size of the hole, the dimension, and I can make that 0.5, okay? And I could hit OK, and we'd have a hole all the way through the bottom. Now, I don't really like that. I'm going to show you another way to do this. So I'm going to right click here. So your mouse has a left and a right side. I'm going to right click, and I am going to delete this feature. I'm going to click delete and click sketches and features. And then I'm going to go back and start 2D sketch. Same thing. We're going to click on the top here. I'm going to zoom in on the top correctly. And I'm going to go to the circle. And I'm just going to draw a circle on this top here. Draw a circle, and now in this case, we have to dimension the circle and tell us how big it is, and we said it wants to be 1/2 inch, so 0.5, okay? And then the circle has the center point in the middle, a little dot. I'm going to click on that little dot. I'm going to click on the line over here, and that will give me a dimension, and I can dimension it to the center of our part. There we go, that way and that way, okay? Now, once I have that, I'm going to hit Finish Sketch, and now I'm going to extrude, and I'm going to flip the direction here, and I can either do 2.5 or I can hover, and this thing says through all. And if I click on through all, it'll go in through the entire object. And I can hit OK, and I have the hole all the way through the bottom. This is the first basic practice block, just getting an idea for what the program looks like, where things are. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'd be happy to help you. Good luck drawing this, and make sure to save it when you are done. Thanks. See you next time.